Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to teach you how to shoot with the outside of the foot, also known as the trivela. So before we get into the step-by-step tutorial, I just want to say a huge thank you to Band for sponsoring this video. So Band's an app that allows you to take control of a group or organization or anything that you're involved in. So if you have a homework club, a football club, and you're organizing training sessions and you want everybody to know what time to arrive at the pitch, you can put it in the calendar. You can have group chats, individual chats, so everybody has all the information they need, so your group is seamless and organized at all times. And if you sign up now, Band's actually giving away $250,000 worth of sponsorship to school teams for the upcoming school year. All you need to do is sign up to the app, which is absolutely free, and invite 5 people, and you'll be eligible for that $250,000 prize. But without further ado, thanks again to Band for sponsoring this video, and let's get into the tutorial. So the trivela is a type of shot that uses the outside of the foot, and it's actually a really good option, especially if you have the ball on your weak side. So I'm a right-footed player, so if I'm about to take a shot and the defender closes down that space, so I have to cut it onto my weak side, I can still use my dominant foot by using the trivela. So it's a good way to use your strong foot on both sides. So let's move into the run-up. So for the run-up, you essentially either want to be straight on or to the opposite side to which you would take a free kick with your dominant foot. So as a right-footed player, I'm usually standing to the left of the ball if I want to wrap around it. But if I'm taking a trivela, either I'm straight on or to the right-hand side, because I'm using the outside of the foot this time, so I want to arc my run so that can expose that surface area. And as far as how many steps to take with your shot, the further you run up, the more momentum you get behind the strike, so it depends how much power you want to get on it. If you haven't got much time, you're just going for sheer accuracy, you can do it in 2 or 3 steps. But if you really want to generate some power, you might want a longer run up with some wider strides. So it really depends on what type of shot you're going for, but let's move into the planting foot. So for any shooting technique, you want the planting foot pointing towards your target. So if you're just aiming for goal, that standing foot, the toes are going directly towards the goal. For me, if I'm aiming for that far post and actually my foot's cutting across that ball to generate a bit of outside curl, you can even just point it just beyond that post so it wraps around outside of the post and then comes back into that side netting. So depending on when you want the ball to go, that's where you're going to point your standing foot. Normally, with a shooting technique, I want my planting foot nice and close to the ball because that really helps you with your accuracy. But with the trivela, your foot's coming across the ball, so you need to have enough room for that foot to come across. So you're going to have it a little bit further away from the ball this time, and I like to have my foot slightly in front of the ball with my ankle coming through the middle here. So when you're about to strike the ball, you really want to give a good backswing. That's where all the power is going to come from. So you want to really flex that leg to give a pendulum effect, and you're going to put way more momentum through that ball. Also, you want to have a slight bend in the opposite leg for balance. Especially for this technique, you're going to be a bit further away from the ball. It's a lot easier to come off balance. But if you have a slight bend in that knee, you're going to be far more stable. Also, just like a normal shot, you want to have a bit of a arm extension for balance as well. It's just going to allow you to balance on that leg a little bit more, and you're going to be even more stable, which will improve the accuracy of your shot. So now let's talk about the area of the ball we want to be striking. So it's basically the opposite to what you would do for a curling shot with your dominant foot. So for me as a right-footed player, usually I'm hitting the lower right side of the ball here, wrapping over it like that. So for the trivela, I'm basically just doing the exact same thing on the opposite side. So lower left side of the ball, as I make contact, trying to wrap my foot up and around that ball, so it has a bit of like diagonal spin, gives it a little bit of top spin, and also a little bit of left to right movement as well. So now let's talk about the area of the foot we want to be using to strike the ball. So usually for a traditional shot, you're trying to find that sweet spot. So the nice dense area towards the top of the foot here. You're not trying to hit lower on the foot because that's softer. If you want to generate power and whip, that kind of aggressive shot, you want to be finding that sweet spot. And exactly the same happens when you're performing the trivela as well. So if you just go to the opposite side of the foot, the bones are nice and dense at the top here again. So you've basically got 2 sweet spots. You've got a sweet spot for the instep, and you've got a sweet spot for the outside of the foot as well. If you hit lower on the foot here, where it's a bit softer, you will get that spin, but you're going to sacrifice a lot of power. It's not going to be very challenging for the goalkeepers. But if you find that sweet spot, so towards the top here, and you're using that area to strike through the ball, not only are you going to get that spin and that dip, but you're going to generate more power as well. Also, you want to lock the ankle as you strike the ball. You really want to make it nice and rigid. You do that by flexing the foot down, and actually for this technique you want to push it inwards a little bit. So you're kind of angling your foot like this, really flexing those ankle muscles so that when you strike the ball you're exposing that side of the foot, because if you have a loose foot you're just not going to generate the power you want. You want to have a nice rigid surface so the ball really propels off the foot nice and aggressively. Finally, moving into the follow through. So as you strike that ball, first you want to slightly crouch your chest over the ball. That's going to stop it from skying over the crossbar. So as you make contact you snap forward, but as you strike the ball as well you want your foot to actually follow through in the direction you want the ball to go. So as you make contact with that ball, if I want it to go towards that left hand side, I'm actually going to follow through towards that left hand side. That's just going to give it more chance of going exactly where you want the ball to go. And the final point of your follow through is after you've struck the ball and you've gone towards your target, you actually want to come off of that standing foot and land back on your kicking foot again. This is going to put even more power behind the shot. And this isn't something you need to force. The momentum of your big backswing should make you naturally come off the ground just because there's so much force going into it that you'll need it to stay balanced. So those are all my tips for shooting with the outside of the foot. Now you've got all the key points. The last tip is just practicing over and over again to build that muscle memory so that you can perform it in a game. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button for weekly training videos, and I will see you guys in my next video.